Tyler Perry was one of the few A-listers who loudly defended Harry and Meghan after the Oprah interview. He gave them a home, a private jet, an exit strategy, and now amid serious allegations, Harry and Meghan have gone silent. Harry once told Anderson Cooper silence is betrayal.
Tyler Perry was once their guardian angel, the man who opened his doors when the world turned cold. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle fled the chaos of royal life, chased by cameras and controversy, it wasn't Buckingham Palace that offered them refuge. It was Perry Hollywood's billion-dollar storyteller, a man of faith and discretion. He gave them a mansion, a jet, and something far more valuable, protection. But now, the same man who protected them may be the one to destroy them. And before we go further, make sure you subscribe right now, because this story is still unfolding, and what's coming next could shake the entire royal narrative to its core. Let's start with what triggered the bombshell. Tyler Perry is currently facing a jaw-dropping $260 million lawsuit over alleged workplace misconduct, the kind of scandal that sends publicists into hiding and lawyers into overdrive. You'd think Harry and Meghan, who Perry once called family, would come out and support. But what did they offer him in return? Silence. Cold, calculated silence. Not a single post, no supportive statement, no message of loyalty. Meghan, once so quick to align herself with causes and controversies, went dark. She deleted old mentions. Archived photos vanished. It was like Tyler Perry had never existed in their orbit. And that's where the real story begins, because according to multiple sources close to the legal storm brewing behind the scenes, Perry and the Sussexes had a private agreement, a non-disclosure pact but with a twist. A trigger clause buried deep inside. If Perry was ever publicly erased or distanced without explanation, he'd be released from the silence. And guess what? Meghan's quiet digital purge may have pulled. That trigger. Now Perry holds the receipts. Not the kind that tabloids can twist or downplay. Real receipts, voice notes, emails, strategy documents, planning sessions. Recordings from the days when Meghan and Harry were selling their new narrative to Netflix, Spotify, and the world. If even a fraction of what he has sees daylight, the carefully curated Sussex brand could implode. Overnight, because this isn't just about privacy anymore, this is about authenticity, and the battle for it just turned nuclear. Asterisk, when Harry and Meghan first touched down in the US, they weren't the global power couple they are today. They were vulnerable, unsure, and frankly political poison. The palace had cut them loose. The tabloids were feasting, and the only one who stepped forward wasn't a royal, a celebrity, or a politician. It was Tyler Perry. He didn't just loan them a house, he gave them a kingdom, a sprawling Los Angeles mansion complete with private security, anonymity, and the ultimate Hollywood passport. He offered his jet, his contacts, his protection, and in return, they gifted him a title that would seal their new American chapter. Godfather to their daughter Lilibet, or so they claimed. There was no ceremony, no palace announcement, no photos, just a single line dropped casually in a Netflix docuseries. At the time, it felt intimate, sweet, even. But now that the truth is unraveling, the Godfather label is being questioned like everything else in the Sussex story. Was it real? Or was it another PR maneuver? Because once Perry was hit with that $260 million lawsuit, everything changed. Meghan erased him like he was a bad chapter in her script. No public words, no private loyalty. And according to insiders, kept everything. He kept the audio files from late-night planning sessions. He kept the emails strategizing the rollout of their royal exit. He has messages detailing how to spin narratives for Netflix, when to drop emotional bombshells, and how to leverage trauma into talking points. These weren't just conversations. Among friends, they were business moves, rehearsed, branded, and timed to perfection. One insider put it bluntly, Tyler knows everything, and he's not just holding secrets, he's holding the blueprint. And Hollywood knows it. Multiple major media outlets are already scrambling to lock down exclusive rights to Perry's story, with offers rumored to be reaching into the millions, not for gossip, for proof, verified evidence that could rewrite the entire Meghan and Harry origin story as a tale of manipulation, not emancipation. Because if the Netflix series was staged, if the Oprah interview was rehearsed, if the Godfather title was a branding decision, then this isn't just a PR disaster. It's a collapse of credibility. And credibility is the only currency Harry and Meghan have left. Asterisk. Let's talk about power. Not the kind worn in crowns or spoken through speeches, but the quiet, the kind built on what people know. Tyler Perry isn't just a Hollywood mogul. He's a storyteller who owns his own studio, answers to no one, and has more leverage than most realize. And now, he holds the one thing Harry and Meghan can't: control, the unfiltered version of events, insiders say. Perry wasn't just a bystander to the Sussex transition, he was a co-architect. He was allegedly on the calls when Netflix deals were pitched. He heard the real reasons behind the Oprah interview. He listened to the breakdowns, the branding strategies, the calculated emotional reveals, late-night voice notes, fear-laced conversations, even the PR calendar. And it's not speculation, it's files, records, digital evidence. If even one email contradicts what was said publicly, if one voice memo reveals that moments of spontaneous vulnerability were actually scripted and timed, then the entire Sussex narrative collapses. It's deafening. Especially now that Meghan has erased him from her online presence. One day he was their savior. The next he was invisible, and that may have set Perry free because legal sources suggest the NDA between Perry and the Sussexes included a reputation clause, a provision that, if violated, would release Perry from the agreement entirely. Meghan's purge may have been the breach, and if so, Perry has no more legal muzzle. He can talk. And here's the terrifying part from Meghan and Harry. He doesn't have to embellish a single thing. He doesn't have to speculate or theorize. All he has to do is share what he saw and heard, and that, in itself, would be nuclear. Because you can't spin raw recordings. You can't Photoshop a voice memo. You can't delete the past once it's been downloaded right now. Social media is exploding with hashtags like Type and Godfather. People are digging through old interviews, comparing timelines, analyzing inconsistencies. Even diehard Sussex supporters are pausing, not because they suddenly trust the tabloids, but because they trusted Tyler. And now, even his loyalty seems shattered. And then, just as the whispers turn into headlines, Harry vanished. No cameras, no announcement. Just gone. While Meghan stayed behind in California, posting filtered lifestyle shots, smiling with wine glasses. Balance and healing Prince Harry quietly boarded a flight to the UK. No press briefings, no royal welcome. Just silence. The timing? Impossible to ignore. Sources say Harry met with legal advisors. Some believe he was checking in with the palace, perhaps even negotiating a form of quiet damage control or worse. A last-ditch effort to save face in the event that Perry drops the bomb. They spill into contracts, courtrooms, and the very foundation of the couple's financial future. Spotify's already gone. Netflix is rumored to be losing patience. Endorsements are hanging by a thread, and all of it was built on a single fragile pillar: public trust. If Perry produces recordings that show their media appearances were rehearsed, if the Godfather title was purely symbolic, a tool used to reinforce a chosen family narrative, if the mental health stories were strategized to boost brand relatability, then what? Meghan and Harry sold to the world wasn't authenticity, it was performance. And that has real. Sussex Glow are now watching from the shadows. Meghan's lifestyle empire, American Riviera Orchard, has already faced quiet ridicule behind closed doors, a wellness label on a foundation of deception, especially not in this market. Meanwhile, the questions surrounding Lilibet's christening have reignited with fury. The only source confirming the story is Meghan and Harry. And now, even their most basic claims are under the microscope. Did Perry attend a christening? Was there even one? Why did no one in the royal family acknowledge it? Why are there no photos, no details, no records? Every unanswered question now sounds less like privacy and more like obfuscation. And Tyler Perry, he's not denying any of it. He's just watching, waiting, sorting through files, and reportedly consulting a team of legal and media experts who are helping him decide whether to drop the story, sell it. It's a reckoning. Because if Tyler Perry speaks, it won't be a tabloid tell-all. It will be a documented unraveling of one of the most carefully crafted public images of our time. They rewrote what royalty meant, positioning themselves as victims, visionaries, and truth-tellers. Every deal, every interview, every staged moment of vulnerability was anchored in one promise: that they were finally telling the truth. But what happens when that truth was scripted? When vulnerability was a marketing tactic? When tears became monetized assets? Contracts could be reviewed, clauses could be invoked. Millions of dollars in deals could vanish overnight because streaming platforms don't want lawsuits. Sponsors don't want fake narratives, and fans don't forgive betrayal. And that betrayal doesn't just cut through their audience, it cuts through the very message they once claimed as their mission: healing, transparency, surviving trauma. If those messages were rehearsed, orchestrated, and sold like products, then every real survivor who once found solace in their words has been used, weaponized for brand equity, and that's unforgivable. So now, Perry stands at a crossroads, verifying digital records, not because he wants revenge, but because he's been made a scapegoat. The man who offered them sanctuary has been reduced to a ghost, and all he has to do to correct the record is press send. One leak, one email, one recording. That's all it takes to shatter the illusion, and Meghan and Harry know it. That's why the distraction campaign is in full force. Pap walks with carefully selected outfits, pseudo-political statements designed to dominate headlines. But it's not working. The internet has caught on the world is watching. Because here's the truth. Tyler Perry isn't some irrelevant figure being swept under the rug. He's the architect they forgot they built the house with. And now that house is on fire? In the end, Meghan and Harry, it'll be the man who protected them first. The man who stood silent through every storm, until they turned their backs. The man who holds the receipts, the godfather of their daughter, the gatekeeper of the real story. And when he finally speaks, there will be no spin left, no sympathy to shield them, no strategy to hide behind, only the truth. And truth, unlike PR campaigns, doesn't fade in a news cycle, it burns permanently. So if you want to know what happens next, if Perry drops the bombshell, if contracts collapse, if the whole Sussex narrative goes up in smoke, stay with us. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Because this story isn't just about two royals and a Hollywood titan. It's about what happens when the truth refuses to stay buried. And Tyler Perry, he's digging.